Hi everyone, this is Chris from the Writing Community Chat Show. I'm here with Atticia Locke. Fantastic to be able to speak to her here in person at Harrogate Crime Writers Festival 2025. So, Attica, how are you finding it?
Fantastic. What a fun festival. The favorite thing for me is the sense of community. Yeah.
Being from America and coming over and obviously experiencing a festival in the UK, what sort of differences are you seeing between the two sort of scenes?
I was just speaking with somebody about this. In my opinion, the quality of conversation that people are having about the books here feels deeper. That it is about genre, but it's also about culture. It's also about history. It's also about politics. Whereas I feel like there are some crime writing festivals that say kind of shallow, and it's just about the craft of crime writing rather than what does this genre, how does this genre speak to the world culturally.
Right. Yeah, and your books are obviously known for going into those spaces in terms of like looking at race and family and culture and things like that you've just mentioned. So how do you approach that when you're crafting a new novel or a new idea?
Well, I think so many of the things that you talked about come so naturally to me that some of it isn't even pointed. It's not even something that I have to reach for to do. I just see the world through the lens of politics. And usually, even what I mean by that is not just, Labor, Tory, Democrat, Republican. I always think about distribution of power. So, in a way, it comes to me just very, very naturally. I will say that I find it very, very important to be telling a good story. So, in my opinion, nothing can get in the way of the story. And if something is getting in the way, it has to go. Like, you just really have to make sure that you're writing something that is pleasing for a reader. And that is, following a story logic above ideology.
We have a lot of American viewers of the show. Does the shift in the political landscape of America, especially in recent times, does that have a big impact on your writing? And like you said, story comes first, but obviously with a lot of emotions and sort of feelings in and around different things, does that find itself creeping into your work a little bit more?
I think so. And I also think that it'll be 3 years from now before we're going to see a wealth of literature that addresses the moment that we're in now. Because it's hard to address it as you're living it because you don't have any kind of perspective of having been away from it for. But you're also inside of it. So you're scared, you're confused. You can't, you're in disbelief about I am in disbelief about what is happening to my country. I say this in the way that I feel about the pandemic. I'm now seeing books that are really able to make sense of the pandemic in a way that, in something you're writing in 2020, 2021, you don't even know how to address it because you're still trying to process it. So I actually think the great literature about the time in America that we're living in is coming.
And how do you as a writer then capture that emotion and put it onto the page?
For me, I give myself permission to be honest with myself. I approach it the way I would want to even write about family or write about grief. Music is a access point for me, and by that I mean music kind of opens my emotions, and so music helps me feel like something like it's like a faucet has been opened, and now I can really talk about any pain or fear that I have about what we're going through right now.
And over the course of your writing career then, what's been the focus in terms of like what you're trying to achieve when you sit down to write a new novel?
What a question. Number one, I'm always trying to move people. I really want to make people feel emotion, make people feel a sense of compassion about characters that may be different from them. And the other thing is, I want to tell a yarn. I want it to feel like I'm sitting down in a bar and you sit down next to me and I'm like, hey, you're never going to believe the story I have to tell you. Like, I kind of want it to feel like that. Along the way, I try to find in these bigger or weave in these bigger themes about history and politics. But for me, everything is this a pleasurable experience to read this book?
And we have a lot of people that watch this show for writing advice, and we try and where we can to put apart that knowledge and give them some wisdom. So what, let's say 3 things would you say if somebody was just starting out to try and write a crime novel?
The absolute number one thing I would say is be kind to yourself. Be kind. I would say, similar to that, chase joy. I'm going to say something that sounds kind of mean, but there's freedom in what I'm about to say. No one actually really cares what you're doing. They don't really care. Like, not everybody's waiting around. Even me, and I published 6 books, people might go, oh, I would like to read another Attica Locke novel. And then they'll forget about it and they're not thinking about it. But it's your life, you're experiencing. And if nobody's paying attention and waiting for something specific, go have fun. Free yourself to do something out the box, different, because it's not going to work if you're not having joy. And the enemy of joy is judgment. So that circles back to being very, very kind to yourself. And then I don't even know how many numbers that was, but I will also say read everything. Read as much as you can, because it's by reading a lot that you begin to see patterns and you see, oh, that turn of phrase I want to use, I've read that in about 6 other books. Maybe there's a deeper, fresher way of saying something. So I think reading keeps us on our toes in order to make sure that we're saying something new and different and challenging ourselves to go deeper.
Do you find that the success that you've had has put additional pressure on your writing process?
I don't know, because I'm a neurotic mess, and I think I would be that way no matter what. My husband can attest to this. My therapist can attest to this. Every book, I'm always like, I can't do it again. Oh my God, I don't know how I did it. This is the time when I'm going to fail. I think I would be like this no matter what. So I can't answer whether or not it's a success or not. I just feel fear, and I think that's natural. The only good thing is, having done it for a while, is you begin to realize that it's a pattern. You always feel this way, Attica. You always get very, very scared. And also to remind myself that fear is a feeling you're having. It's not necessarily the truth. So just because I'm afraid that a tornado could come through here right now doesn't mean one is coming. You learn how to say, that's a feeling, acknowledge the feeling, and then get to work. Yeah.
Yeah, we have a question that we ask a lot of writers. When you've written a series of books, do you ever step away and think, oh, that's what I was actually writing about, after a couple of years of reflection? And if so, have you had any sort of insights when you've looked back at a book and gone, it's not actually about this, it's about this thing that was personal to me that I didn't realize at the time?
It's pretty much happened with every book. I usually have the realization before the book is in the bookstores, but there's always a gap between the experience of writing it and then as you get closer to going out in the world, sometimes there's like a lightning bolt moment where I'm like, oh, that's what that was all about. Yeah, so I have had those experiences for sure. Yeah.
So with obviously you've given tips as well. One of the things that we like to try and do is, when we've talked about writing different characters before, obviously myself and Chris are both male, so when we try and write female characters, it can be quite difficult. But also when you're trying to represent different races and different cultures, what advice would you give to somebody who was doing that and trying to do it respectfully and to get the character right?
You said the word respect, so that's really kind of it. And what that looks like is paying very close attention. If I were going to write a book about Sri Lankan culture, it would be incumbent on me to consume as much as I could about the culture from every angle. Are there people doing TikToks about Sri Lanka? Are there Sri Lankan hip hop I can listen to? Are there other books about Sri Lanka that are both poetry, novels, but also what historical context can I do? You have to give yourself everything, and then to the degree that you're able to immerse yourself in a culture, either by watching their television shows, just pay really, really, really close attention and assume that you are this outsider that has to be let in, that has to kind of show respect. Don't assume that you know kind of everything.
And obviously, being from America and having that experience, you talked about reading a lot before. Would you be able to recommend 3 authors from America or anywhere else in the world that we may not have heard of yet in Britain? And then if somebody was looking at picking up one of your books, which one would you recommend for them to start with?
Okay, well, I know you know of this gentleman because he was here before. S.A. Cosby is just a fabulous writer. Megan Abbott is not as well known here in the UK. I adore her. There is a late author, he's passed away, was from Mississippi, called Larry Brown. I just simply adore and love his work. And all of these different people are giving you a window into something. Megan is doing stuff with gender that is transgressive and interesting. S.A. Cosby is doing this lens on being black in the South. Larry Brown wrote about poor people in Mississippi. Like, all of these are like really incredible authors to read. And in terms of my books, where to start, I don't know. I mean, probably Bluebird. I think it's a great access point for a lot of readers.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, that's been our interview today at Harrogate Writers Festival. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
It's been an absolute pleasure to chat to you. And if you're here watching this over this weekend, because this content will go out, please obviously say hello to Attica. I'm sure she'd be more than welcome to have a little chat with you. And obviously, buy books. Buy lots of books if you're here at Harrogate Crime Writers Festival this weekend. So thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, guys.